This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
Today's job is replacing a dishwasher exhaust fan. So the whole fan is rotting out. The protective coating on the inside, it's still working, but it's time to replace. The protective coating's coming off, it's just done. The new fan that we're going to is a different brand. This one is an ILG fan, and we're going to a Cook fan, basically. So, yeah, we've got power turned off downstairs. I quote so many of these, I don't remember. So I coming into it, I was like, I didn't know what we had to do for the electrical and stuff, because there's one of these restaurants where the electrical is like coming up through the bottom of the fan in a really janky way, and we were gonna have to fix that. For some reason, I had it in my head that was this one, but that's not the case. We've got a junction box right here. That'll make it easy. We've already isolated, shut off the power, locked out the panel. That's good to go. So we're gonna disconnect this. Actually, before we disconnect, we're gonna go verify that the new fan matches the specs on this fan before we go through the hassle of pulling this thing apart. Because like I said, this one is functioning, you know, so we don't want to disconnect it and then find out the other fan doesn't work or something like that, right? So we'll just double check the measurements. And of course, we verified it's the right fan at the shop, but we always, when we get to the job, just before we go through the hassle of getting it on the roof and everything, we want to make sure. So we got our new fan right here. Everything matches up. Specs are close enough for us. We kind of knew the wheel's a little bit bigger, but it's fine. And we've got electricity right here. We already turned off power downstairs, but we're just gonna verify that power is off. So the cool thing about Wagos is they actually have test ports in the top. So when you tape them, don't tape the top, and then we can check voltage right there. So we're gonna check to ground, make sure that we're actually isolated and that all is well. Oftentimes the meter leads will come with safety caps. This is a UEI that I got, and you know, we're just making sure that it's working right. You also have to be safe though, because sometimes the Wagos, you really got to push them to get them in there to make sure. I think that's good enough. Check your other one. And we got some like ghost voltage, residual something or other. Let's check to ground just to be safe. Each lead to ground, just go ahead and go to that terminal right here. This is coded, so go to that. What is that? Is that 95?
95, yeah.
Wait, something's not right. Why do we have voltage? We shouldn't. Yeah, something's wrong. It's like, see, this is why we check. It's like they disconnected the neutral and not the hot leg. What the heck is going on here? So yeah, we need to double check because something's wrong here. We do have some sort of voltage. This is really odd. Okay, so we're gonna further investigate. Yeah, this is really weird. So look at, we have some sort of voltage here. That is really odd. Yeah, something weird is going on here. So we need to get to the bottom of this and figure out what's up, because that is 95 volts. That's not an acceptable, that's not a ghost voltage. That's, wait a minute. No, it's the range of the meter. That's what it is. Let's go to range. There you go, volts. It was like millivolts. 0.9, so it has 0.09 volts. It was the range. So that's something about this meter that's a little off, is you got to make sure the range is on. So the auto range, I guess I should read the instructions to figure out what the auto range is on this meter. So if you look right there, we're not even measuring anything. So you always got to double check your range, but that's why we check this stuff. You know, we want to be 100% sure. And I don't think it's any fault of the meter. It's because I don't tend to read instructions, so I don't know how everything works. So if we look closely, it's millivolts. So yeah, got to make sure our range is set correctly. I'm so used to you grabbing my field piece and doing auto range where it just automatically does it. So I have to figure out on this meter how the auto range truly works. This is another problem too, is that we have a true green ground coming up, but then it's hooking to a blue wire that's going into this conduit. So a wire's a wire. It still works as a ground, the blue wire, but I mean, we at least need to tape it green if we're gonna run a blue wire up into here, you know? So when we're done, we'll put the right colors in there and we'll make it right. But I mean, for instance, if someone used a blue coming from downstairs, we would just tape it green so that way we know, you know, and identify it that way. So we got it half right because it's green up here. If you're gonna tape it to do that, then you wanna do it on both ends so at least someone knows, right? So again, a wire's a wire. And you can use, you know, other color wires as your ground, but like, let's make it easy for someone. If you had green tape up here, we should have green taped it down here too. But we'll make sure we fix that. So we're gonna get all this disconnected, we'll get it put on, and then we'll figure out the wiring on our new fan. So it's definitely dirty. We're gonna grab our vacuum and vacuum this area out. Then just doing a quick inspection of the ductwork. It's hard for you guys to understand, but that's the top of the pants right there for the dishwasher. So that's one side of it actually, where right there, downstairs it separates into two small rectangular ducts, and we call that the pants. So you have one trunk, and then it goes left and right to each side of the dishwasher. And so we can see all the way down. So we'll just do a quick vacuum on this. We'll go ahead and replace this conduit. So we'll take this off, and then we'll get some wire, and we should be good to go. I made this a while back. It's just a little rope with a whatever D-ring or whatever you want to call it at the top, so that way it lifts these light fans straight, because we're just roping this fan. So, and my rope's long enough that we get two guys on it, we just lift. We got gravity working on our side. The other one was super easy, this one's lighter. But this helps because when you're trying to rope exhaust fans, they come up crooked and all that stuff, and this kind of keeps it straight. The advent of these cordless tools is freaking awesome, man. Wireless vacuum or cordless vacuum is epic. Help you just knock this stuff out. Now we're not going too crazy, but we're just gonna get the bulk of the big stuff out of here. Just make it a little bit nicer, you know? You know what I mean, Vern? We got the fans set on here, vacuumed out as best as possible. I was curious because there's a switch here and then there's a speed adjustment knob right here, so I didn't know which one the power was going in. And it's this one. You pull it off. There's a neutral there, and there's a hot wire here for us to wire to. So they're bringing in main power through this. So you can use this as a switch, or you can use this as a switch. So we'll route the power in here. We'll just push this knockout out right here. Right there. We'll come in through the electrical hole, which is right here, and then wire it all in. So we're coming in here, and like it's really tight, right? Like, oh, and then we get the connector, it's gonna stick, like it's super tight. We could cut this short, we could do that, or what if we take these two 5/16 screws, move the box back a little bit, you know, and then put less stress on all this stuff. So that's what we're gonna do, just two screws. So pull those out, and then we'll move it to a better place, and then we'll screw it back down. Just leave it. There you go. Okay, so let's move it to a place where it's gonna work better. So we'll put this in here, put that right there. And I say we just go ahead and get the connector on here. We could screw those in when we're done. Like, as long as they're not in the way of these little turning things right here, there's nothing else on that wheel that should hit it, really. So let's get our connector on here, get it connected. We'll find a place where there's not too much stress, and then we'll screw the box down. Okay, so the conduit that we had already is gonna be perfectly sized with enough of an accessory loop that we can still lift up the van or lift up the exhaust fan while it's energized. Important is on these guys right here, you wanna tape the end all the way to the end, no wires sticking out, because it will get stuck on the ridges in here. Since we already have this connector on, go ahead and start feeding it. We're gonna feed it from this way because there's no connector on this side, and it'll get caught up in the connector most of the time. Usually if it's a short run like this, you don't need a fish tape if you do it appropriately. Sometimes you might have to stretch out the conduit or something, but it's coming, I can feel it. And we'll straighten it out so that way it's a lot straighter. It'll make the run a lot easier as he's pushing the wire through. Now, if you start feeling a lot of resistance, then we gotta stop and something's hitting. Most of the time, if you're feeling resistance, you don't want the wires bending. It should be effortlessly. It's probably right like here or something is where it's at. So just hope you're already coming through. So you got it, it came through. Let me pull the rest. How much, and we make sure we usually do about 18 inches on each side just to be safe. That's plenty. So now we can go ahead and wire this side, and then we'll cut this short over here and wire this side over here. Okay, and then do the same with your black wire. Connect the black wire to the other side. There's already a connector, a Wago connector there. Just make sure that they're not getting twisted up. Here's this. Double check to make sure you didn't pinch on the insulation from the back of the Wago. They look good to me. Okay, and then look, your white came out because you didn't clip it. your white back in. And I will pull the slack out when you're ready. Okay, and I'm gonna pull the slack and you tell me when. You want about 6 inches excess in there. Okay. All right, now hopefully let's go ahead and put a piece of tape to hold the levers down. I know that everybody thinks that's the end of the world, but I like to do it. Satisfies my OCD. And then we'll put it all back together and then we'll finalize wiring over here. Perfect. So what we like to do is we grab the wire, we tape the wire first, hold it together, and then we just do a wrap around the top. Nothing crazy, and then you leave the top exposed because there's a test port up there. These will shove down below the speed control. If we do it right, we'll also double check the tightness of their wire nut. In fact, let's get rid of their wire nut and let's make it a Wago. So I'll get another Wago real quick. Okay, we turn this on and then we turn this on. Exhaust fan is running and we're gonna check current now. Go ahead and come on up. Everything's good, nothing blew up. So every one of these that I do, we always have this problem. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Okay, this is high speed. Wait for it to ramp up. The RLA on this motor is 3.2 amps. We're running 3.5, but according to the data plate, it's a 2-speed motor. With the rheostat, these things are weird, but we try to slow it down. They're silly. Like at a certain level, it's fine, but at a certain level, it's way over amping, right? So what we're gonna actually do is shut it off. We're gonna open this up, and this is a 2-speed motor. We're gonna wire it to low speed, and then we can control it better that way. So we're just below 3.2 now. We might speed it up just a little bit more, but we'll see. These little things are finicky. Not a huge fan of those speed controllers like that. So these dishwasher exhaust fans, they're actually really important to the restaurant because the amount of steam that comes out of these dishwashers and then just, you know, wallops all through their kitchen just adds so much moisture to the kitchen, which makes it harder for the air conditioning system to work, causes bacterial growth and different other kinds of things. Like it's a big deal. So this particular restaurant is very, very proactive about replacing things that are going to cause problems. Now, a dishwasher exhaust fan being down is not going to stop their operation per se, but it will make it very uncomfortable. Now, I have seen certain situations though where in the past, like dishwasher exhaust fans, like the ductwork in the attic can rot out or different things like that, and it can just cause mold and all kinds of crazy things, which can almost pretty much, I mean, if it gets worse or gets bad enough, can in theory shut down a restaurant because of safety concerns, right? Because of people's health and different things like that. So, you know, it's so critical that we keep up on this stuff and maintain it. You know, obviously this one has lived its life. That particular fan was probably installed, if I had to, that restaurant was probably started up in 2003, 2004. So that exhaust fan was well over 20 years old. And they have a protective coating on them just because of the amount of steam and the chemicals that come up from that dishwasher. And I mean, honestly, the coating started to rot off before the fan stopped working. And it lasted 20 plus years. That is a great life for that exhaust fan. I've got nothing bad to say about it per se. So we went ahead and replaced it, got it back up and running, set everything, the speed and everything, you know, accordingly, got it all set up hunky-dory, and, you know, customers happy. And they didn't have any downtime, right? Because the fan was still working when we got there. It was just found while doing a routine maintenance. Hey, this thing is just done, right? I didn't really show it too much, but the whole coating on the underside of the fan was just coming off, like over the years as like one assembly, and it eventually was going to start stopping up the fan and causing problems. So take your time, and then also understand, you know, when to ask questions. For instance, the meter was saying 95, what we thought was volts, but it was actually millivolts. So you got to sometimes stop and look and be like, oh my gosh, the range is off. Now, I'm very, very used to my particular field piece meter. Most of the time when you see me get confused is when I'm using an employee's meter, or coworker's meter, or, something new like this UEI one. Great meter. There's nothing wrong with it. UEI actually sent it to me just because they wanted, just curious my thoughts and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great meter. No issues. So we just, try to do our best, right? And think through the process. Just because you have fancy tools, digital gauges, all this different stuff doesn't mean you can't make mistakes. And in this situation, I didn't read the installation manual or instruction manual for that meter. I just turned it on. It's a meter. How hard can it be? And, well, this is the kind of stuff we run into. So, we caught it before it became a problem, but we always want to be careful and be thorough. I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video as usual. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Great way to help support it. Again, you see the walk-in behind me. We're getting closer and closer to receiving the equipment for the box, so hopefully we can move on with it. At this point, the ideas in my head are overwhelming. Different ideas. If you have ideas or experiments that you'd like to see me perform, it's a possibility I will do those. Shoot me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com, and tell me what your ideas, things that I can do with the walk-in. So remember, I'm going to have a cooler on this side, a freezer on the other side, and we're going to do all sorts of experiments. We're starting with conventional thermostatic expansion valves, normal systems. We are going to have scroll compressors, microchannel condensers. Eventually, we will potentially convert things over to electronic components. We are going to go with, at some point, A2L equipment. So, there's going to be all sorts of cool stuff, A2L content, best practices when doing installation, what happens when things fail, what happens when things get wet. Like, we have all kinds of cool stuff. So let me know if you guys have any feedback or ideas about that. A great way to help support this project behind me and get it going is going over to my website, hvacrvideos.com, where we have hats available such as this one. It's just a great way to help. So do me a favor, go over there, check it out. If you're interested in supporting the channel, pick up a hat or something. Great way to help support the channel. There's a couple other ways you can do so too. You can go to PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. There's links in the show notes of this video. Those are all great different ways that you can donate to the channel, one time, reoccurring, whatever you choose to do. You can also go over to TrueTechTools.com, where that particular UEI meter that I had, you can pick one of those up from TrueTechTools.com. I have an affiliate program set up with them. If you use my affiliate code at checkout, you'll get a discount on majority of the items on their website. The affiliate code is Big Picture, and that's one word, no spaces between. Another great way, when you use that and the discounts applied, I also get a small commission from that order. So another just great way to help support the channel. Thank you so very much for making it to the end. I really do appreciate you, and hope to catch you on the next one.